I want to look a little more closely at some of the bowing on the Flowers of Spring, also known as tombillies. One quick note is I said something about it being in D minor. It's not in D minor. D minor is just what the resolution chord is, what the chord I'd primarily be playing over it. But it actually would be, in terms of sharps and flat, be in a different key. So I am sorry about that moment where I misspoke. So for jigs, there's a couple different bowing patterns that I like, but I'm going to focus on two of them. The first would be all single bows. Jigs get a bad reputation when they get played like this. They're all equal back and forths. So to avoid that, we can spend a lot of time really getting that jiggery pokery rhythm. You can think big, little, big, little, big, little. So go ahead and do that on the open D with me. It makes a nice scale. But spending a lot of time with that is a good idea. Putting on some of your favorite recordings of fine fiddle players or musicians playing a jig and just spend time with that bowing over whatever open string or notes sound best. We're covering a different distance on those big and littles with our bow for sure, and there's also a little bit of a difference in how much pressure or emphasis we're putting in. But if we were looking on like a recording app that shows the waveform, it'd be woo, 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 woo. That would be bigger on the first ones. So I'll play through and you can hear that. So that's one nice bowing pattern that we can be doing, is focusing on not having equal notes, but giving that some swing. The other thing that I really like to do on jigs, and not all the way across a tune, but in spots on a jig, is slur into the downbeat, and it really creates this momentum, this circular feeling. So I can't do it too much there, but on the section, I can that downbeat falls in the G, so I can slur into it. And then the downbeat falls in the C, so I'll slur into it. So I'll do it in the context. So it's just a quick little moment where I have that, but it feels really wonderful, and kind of that momentum carries over into other parts of the tune. And then sometimes there's a double, so I do that, I do that down, down, up, down, down, up. In a lot of jigs, not across the board in the whole tune, but little moments where I fall into that and it feels really good. So start noticing some of those in other jigs as well. And then you could do up, up, down, up, up, down. It doesn't feel quite as satisfying to me. Another thing that happens sometimes is the double up. If I don't want to slur into that, I'll do an up on that C, and then I'll follow it with another up on a E. Those are not, it's not a slur. I've come to a stop, and it's almost like I do an invisible tiny down bow to fill the space, and then I continue with an up bow. So you can, just a little catch of air. And I love to put those in lots of spots on jigs because it helps add to that levity. So there's a few spots in the B part too. Where I kind of get that down, down, up, down, down, up. So I'll go ahead and play through the tune now again slowly and just see if you can identify, oh, there are some of those back and forths, and there's some slurring into the down bow. See if your ears can pick up on that feeling. Oh, one quick note is a memory as a child of taking some fiddle lessons with Sarah Blair, and sitting and working very specifically on a bowing pattern. And she was sitting with her eyes closed. Nope, that's wrong. And it was just so infuriating to me that she knew I was wrong without even looking, that she could hear that it was wrong. But I think that says a lot about how much the bowing really does change the emphasis of the tune. So see if I find it really hard. I do the same thing now in teaching my own lessons, where I'm listening to your bowing and not so much looking, because it is hard for my eyes to differentiate that up and down fast enough in real time. But instead I can sort of hear where that fall is, if it's getting the sound that I want. So go ahead and look, but also see if your ears can hear some of those down, down, da 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 moments, or those big little jiggery pokery bowings. So that's just a thought on some jig bowing, and all of that can pretty much apply to other jigs too, of getting that really light and delightful feeling.